Hey guys, it's Angelo here again with another PBR battle for you. I'm using my Katie Pass this time, and I am against a Japanese OU user. As you can tell, like, it's pretty bloody standard OU team: Jolteon, Gyarados, Heracross, Salamence, blah 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 blah. So, and their OU teams are always a huge pain to fight just because Pokemon are just so powerful, as I'm sure you all probably know. Probably don't need me to tell you that, but for this battle I choose Drapion, Weezing, and Lanturn because I figure they have the best type coverage. When you're against the OU team, you always want like Pokemon you can switch in fine without taking a huge amount of damage. I start with Lanturn, he starts with Jolteon, and that's kind of perfect for me really because of Lanturn's ability Volt Absorb. Jolteon can't really do a huge amount to it because obviously Stab Thunderbolt will just heal Lanturn instead, so that's great for me. I predicted he'd probably switch, but I went with a Surf anyway to get some damage on whatever he switched in, and he ends up switching in Heracross, and Heracross can be a big pain. It's kind of like, it's good that I didn't actually go with Thunder Wave, because if I had, I would have activated Guts, and although it would have been like cripplingly slow, it would have been doing a hell of a lot of damage to everything in my team. So I'm glad I went with the Surf that turn instead. But I switch in Weezing this turn because, you know, it's probably the greatest Heracross counter in the game, really. It's, you know, resists, because it's poison, it resists both bug and fighting, so Mega Horn and Close Combat, which are Heracross's kind of two main forms of offense. But he goes with a Stone Edge. He may have been predicting a switch, or maybe Choice Banded or something, but it doesn't do a huge amount to Weezing. I go with Fire Blast this turn, hoping that it will KO Heracross. But as you will probably find out in a second, as my opponent takes a while to make this move, you will see, sorry about these awkward gaps where nothing happens. That's Pokemon for you, a thinking man's game. So when my opponent finally does decide, they keep Heracross in, they go for a Stone Edge, and it misses, which is unfortunate for them, but it would have done a huge amount of Weezing. I used Fire Blast. I was thinking he might have KO'd, but I guess I underestimated like Heracross's special defense, and obviously Weezing's special attack's not that high, but oh well. This turn instead of like risking a Fire Blast, I figure I'll go with a Thunderbolt, but he switches out Heracross and switches Jolteon back in, which is a pain because obviously Thunderbolt does nothing to it because of its own Volt Absorb. So Weezing restores its health with Black Sludge. This turn I figure he's gonna go with a Substitute just because that's what Jolteons do. So I keep Weezing in and use Fire Blast, and I was correct. Substitute goes up, and I then Fire Blast thankfully connects, and it manages to take out his sub, which is great for me. So go me, woohoo! Black Sludge again activates, so Weezing's almost pretty close to being back to full health again. I switch in Lanturn because I think, you know, Weezing's not going to be able to do much, Fire Blast might miss, and if he goes for an attack this turn, then because I kept Weezing in, he might think that I was going to continue to keep Weezing in, but I wasn't, so I switch in Lanturn, and he goes for Thunderbolt this turn, so that was some good prediction on my part, which means he's not in a good situation now. I decided to go with another Surf, just because so far I don't know if he's got anything in his team that resists it, but he switches out Jolteon and instead switches in his last Pokemon, which is a Gyarados. Kind of an odd move to switch an electric Gyarados into an electric type, but I guess he was expecting another Surf. I get a fairly useless crit in critical in the grand scheme of things, but this is so obvious what he was going to do here. It was so obvious that he was going to switch out Gyarados and bring back in Jolteon, like expecting me to use like Thunderbolt on it. Like it's like that's rule one. If you fall for that sort of thing, then Jesus Christ, there's not much hope for you, sadly. But it's just like that is such a common strategy, that sort of thing. Well, I mean, it's more common with like Gyarados and Electivire, but people can see right through that, and thankfully I did. So Jolteon comes in, and I use Confuse Ray, and yeah, so Jolteon's now confused when it comes in. But I guess now what my opponent actually does this turn is that he gives up, so I was kind of surprised, because like he still had 3 Pokemon remaining, but she, whatever, had 3 Pokemon remaining, so I guess I just out-predicted him well enough that he got into a corner and he thought he couldn't do anything about it, so there you go. Good old Weezing and Lanturn did a great job. You know, comment, rate and subscribe, whatever. I'll see you guys around next time.